Hi friends, I'm Hope, and here on my channel we use science to myth-bust common fitness beliefs so you can make informed choices about your body and well-being. Today we're tackling a topic that is surrounded by a lot of fear, confusion and outdated advice, and that is higher intensity workouts during pregnancy. If you've ever been pregnant, you have probably heard the advice of stick to low impact exercise only. Well, two very recent studies challenge those beliefs. So in today's video, we will break down what the research actually shows, what it doesn't, and how you can think about higher intensity workouts during pregnancy in a safe, evidence-based way. So this first study, titled The Impact of Heavy Resistance Training on Pregnancy and Postpartum Health Outcomes. This study surveyed 679 individuals who reportedly continued heavy resistance training during pregnancy, and that is defined as at least 80% of a 1 rep max. Many of these people were doing Olympic lifts, supine lifts, and even Valsalva maneuvers. The key findings: most participants reported no major complications in pregnancy or delivery, despite continuing with heavy training. Participants who maintained their pre-pregnancy training levels until delivery actually reported fewer reproductive complications than those who reduced or stopped training. And heavy training, including Olympic lifts, supine positioning, or Valsalva, did not appear to alter any perinatal outcomes or pelvic floor health. This starts to challenge the long-held assumption that heavy lifting equals risk in pregnancy. Now let's move on to the second study, maternal and fetal responses to acute high-intensity resistance exercise during pregnancy. This was a controlled direct measurement study, which is rarer in pregnancy research. 10 pregnant individuals at least 26 weeks gestation and 10 non-pregnant controls. These people performed back squats, bench press, deadlift at 70 to 90% of a 10 rep max, including sets with the Valsalva maneuver. Their key findings were maternal heart rate increased with load, no fetal bradycardia, which is a slow heart rate, was observed, and fetal heart rate did not significantly change pre to post exercise. Umbilical blood flow metrics remained within normal ranges during the exercise bouts. In other words, even high intensity resistance training, including Valsalva, appeared well tolerated by both mother and fetus in this small controlled sample. So what do we take from these two studies? Well, first, they add to a growing body of evidence that resistance training during pregnancy is not inherently harmful, especially in populations without contraindications and under appropriate supervision. Secondly, the heavy lifting study shows that continuing training may even have protective associations because fewer reproductive complications in those who maintained their training, though this is observational, so causality can't be assumed. Thirdly, the acute response study gives physiological data, actually measuring fetal and maternal responses rather than just relying on surveys or retrospective reports, and shows no immediate adverse fetal signs under those controlled conditions. These findings challenge many outdated guidelines that caution pregnant people against lifting, supine exercise, or Valsalva due simply to lack of data, not because of clear harm. However, and this is important, these studies don't mean all high-intensity resistance training conditions are safe in all pregnancies. They were done in samples of generally healthy participants without major complications, and context always matters. So, how should we interpret this data? Here are some evidence-based considerations. Your pre-pregnancy training history matters. Many participants in these studies were already strength training before pregnancy. If you're new to resistance training, you'll want a more gradual approach. You won't want to be going anywhere near your 1 rep maxes. Medical conditions and individual risk are obviously really important. Conditions like placenta previa, uncontrolled hypertension, preeclampsia, multiple gestation might alter recommendations. We should always consider technique, load, and supervision. Is that person confident in the movement that they're doing? Is the load appropriate for their level of training? And we should always avoid something that is a high fall risk. Although the heavy lifting study did include supine lifts, general guidance still suggests caution around extended supine work, especially later gestation. Make sure you continue listening to your body and adapt. Fatigue changes, hormonal changes, biomechanical changes, these all happen during pregnancy. It's likely at some point you will need to reduce volume and adapt recovery, and make sure you stop if any contraindications occur. Focus on outcomes, focus on why you're doing this, not just your performance. Strength, maternal health, maternal well-being, glucose regulation, recovery in postpartum, these are the reasons why we keep exercising during pregnancy. So yes, heavy resistance training can be part of a pregnancy training plan, but it's not a free-for-all. It needs to be tailored to you and context specific. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, please like, subscribe, and share with anyone who's ever told you can't lift that you're pregnant. Remember, it is your body, your choice. I'm just here to help you make informed ones.